today's program with chanting first the Vedas, from Vedas. Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shanno Mitra Varunah Shanno Bhavatvaryama Shanna Indro Brihaspati Shanno Vishnurukramaha Namo Brahmane Namaste Vayo Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahmasi Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahma Vadishyami Ritam Vadishyami Satyam Vadishyami Tanmamavatu Tadvaktaramavatu Avatu Mam Avatu Vaktaram. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Bhadram Karnebhi Shruniyama Devaha Bhadram Pashyemakshaviryajatraha Sthirairangai Stuštubhagam Sastanubhihi Vyashema Devahitayadayu Swasti na Indro Vriddhasravaha Swasti na Pusha Vishwavedaha Swasti nastarksho Arishtanemihi Swasti no Brihaspatir Dadatu. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Yaschandasam Rishabho Vishwarupaha Chandobhyadhyamrita Sambhavuva Samendro Medhaya Asprinotu Amritasya Devadharano Bhuyasam Shariram Me Vicharshana Jivha Me Madhumattama Karna Abhyam Bhuri Visruvam Brahmano Koshosi Medhaya Pihitaha Srutam Me Gopaya. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityurma Amritam Gamaya Aviravirmayedhi. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om. Good morning, dear friends. So this is the fifth session of our centenary celebration, and today is the third day. We have two satsang. So this is third day of fifth session of the centenary celebration that we are celebrating. As you know, this institution was established in 1925 on 6th October. So we are very happy that on this centenary occasion we have a revered nun from the San Francisco, Pravrajika Vedaprana. She joined in 1969. And she got brahmacharya and also later sannyasa in 1987. 1987. Sorry. Right? 1987, yes. So how I relate? I got 1988. So she's 1 year senior to me. But she joined much earlier. I joined in 77. And she joined in 69, so you can imagine. And happy to note that she visited Lucknow when I was there. I was young sannyasin, so that was 1991. 1991, so about 34 years ago we met. 3 V's from So we are very happy that she's here today. And she got sannyasa from Swami Asheshanandaji. So we have a connection. So very good. Today's topic is timeless teachings of Jesus Christ and Holy Mother Sri Sarada Devi. You know, love is the essence of this world. We find all incarnations incarnate out of love for the humanity. As yesterday we were talking about, as Mataji said, that Sri Ramakrishna used to overwhelm when he saw the suffering of human being. And not only Sri Ramakrishna, said right from Buddha or any incarnation, out of love for humanity they incarnate. Vitaritum avatirnam jnana bhakti prashanti. Why? Because they want to impart knowledge, devotion, so that people attain peace. They attain their own real self. So this is the purpose of incarnation, and we'll see how Mother also, out of love for humanity, she suffered herself and she lifted so many suffering people from ordinary lot. So without taking much time, I request Mataji to deliver her lecture on this very nice topic. So thank you for coming. Mm-hmm. But before that I have a little duty.
Good morning for coming.
Well, we have a little duty. Barbara, bring
You want a glass of water?
No. So this is welcome from us.
So do I put it in the glass of water?
Okay, we'll see that. We'll see that. And this is
Oh, Mama.
present.
Oh, my goodness.
And this is some little gift, and we have that.
Oh,
This is also there.
this in here. Will it fall over?
Hmm.
Okay.
Okay, here, see this one. So, and on this occasion, let me also invite Kathy, because we are honoring our veteran devotees, vets. So Kathy, come Kathy.
See, you just have to sit up here and give a talk and you get all these good things, you see? Oh, closer. My voice not loud enough, I know.
No.
Is that all right?
This is good. How about, is about the right height?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so we have one guest companion of her, Ulka. Please come forward. Because you are accompanying her, so you should be honored. We have another devotee, disciple of Swami Asheshanji, but she is shy about receiving this. Okay, no problem. The floor is yours now.
You can just sit.
Floor is yours.
Oh, me.
Now you can go ahead.
having whatever contact I had with Swami Asheshanandaji, I always wanted to see where he came from, what his center was like. And I feel actually very privileged and blessed to be here and to finally see this center. It's a beautiful center, beautiful center. So the talk today is Timeless Message of Jesus Christ and Sri Sarada Devi. It's not loud enough?
A little bit closer.
Okay. How am I gonna? Okay. So Swamiji was talking about the divine incarnation. I have a few little introductory comments myself. They come with a tremendous manifestation of spiritual transforming power. It's a superhuman power to completely transform our inner life, our character. How do they do this? They awaken the latent energy within us, and it empowers our will to form better and better daily habits of thought and behavior. It's a living energy. And they come in human form. But what is that form really? This human form that a Ramakrishna or a Sri Sarada Devi or a Jesus Christ, what is that form? As Swami Vivekananda describes Ramakrishna's form in the Arati hymn, Kandana Bhavabandhana, it is Chidghanakai. It is a form of condensed, pure consciousness. Can we understand this? I can't, but I'm saying it in words. Condensed, pure consciousness is the form of a divine incarnation. But it's human to us. We live with these, let's say, the human forms. We live with their lives. We read about them. We dwell on their lives and their words. That they are the form of this condensed, pure consciousness. And it's an ocean of divine conscious being, full divine light of awareness. And it's at the very heart of our universe, very center of our universe, an ocean of this divine light of awareness. That's where they come from. And we have this same reflection of pure ocean of divine light, of God, of Divine Mother, in our own hearts. Our hearts, in the Upanishads, they describe this depth of our heart, or this level of our heart, the akasha of the heart. And it's the very subtlest space that Ramakrishna speaks of in a few places in the Gospel. And he says, there's Mahakasha, that's the akasha we know, this physical space, huge physical universe with black holes and exploding stars and newly born stars and et cetera, et cetera. I don't know anything about astrology, but huge, incomprehensibly huge. Then he talks about Chitakasha, Chitakasha, and that's the mental ocean of existence. That's subtler, and so it pervades the physical and actually transcends it. It encompasses that space, the physical space. Imagine this huge universe. Our minds are part of that, part of the mental universe, mental ocean of akasha, of space. Then there's a subtlest one. That's Chitakasha. And that's this akasha in our own hearts. Can we understand that? We feel we're physical bodies, or we're identified with physical bodies, and we have a mind that goes everywhere, much better than our physical bodies, doesn't it? Somebody here could talk about, I've been to China, and we're listening to this, and our minds can go and listen and be there in China with this man. Our bodies can't do that. They sit in this room right here. So that is the space that holds our intelligence. it actually reflects. Am I not speaking loud enough?
It just cut out, the microphone cut out.
Is it okay?
I think so.
Okay. I'll try to maybe, let me see, I'll try to get this thing on. Okay. Is that better?
It's better.
Good, okay. So this akasha of our heart is, which is where our intelligence, the seat of our intelligence, that intelligence reflects not only this huge ocean of divine consciousness, this Chidakasha, the full divine light of awareness, but it also lights up outwardly. Again, we'll have to use our own terms, outwardly, because mind and body are more surface to this other. They are much less subtle, and they aren't as pervasive, obviously, as this light of Akasha, this light of our own intelligence. And see, that is where the divine incarnation comes. I think that's where they come from. And they connect with us because we have this light, that little ray of light that lights up our whole individual lives, comes from that huge ocean. And here is the divine incarnations living amongst us with a human body and human mind, as it were, and they touch our lives with a touch of that whole ocean of God, of divine being. And they transform our lives this way. They transform our lives by actually awakening our will to transform our own daily habits, the habits that we've just grown into living with. And some of them aren't really very helpful to us. And so they help our own really, they're awakening our power. They're awakening our deeper nature so that we can slowly transform our own lives. Christ says, "Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God." What is purity of heart? There's a lot of ways we can describe it. Swami Vivekananda in Practical Vedanta speaks of, we must grow in our recognition of the unity of existence. Purity of heart is realization of this unity. The unity with one another, the unity with this whole world. The oneness of us all. That's purity of heart if we realize that we live in that oneness, we live in that unity. Christ came to, this is a famous, I think, incident in Christ's life. He comes to a well and he asks a woman there, a Samaritan woman, drawing water. He said, "Will you give me a drink?" And then he looks at her and he says, "If you knew who was asking you for water, you would ask me for the water of life." And the water of life is this timeless message of the divine incarnations. Whoops. Okay. So all spiritual teachers really tell us that self-purification is the basic thing. We have to struggle hard to take care of our inner condition, of the condition of our minds. Mother says the mind is everything. We have to be alert to the motives of our actions, be alert to our thoughts and our words, our all-around behavior. Ordinarily, our minds pull us outwards through the senses in all directions, and we don't have enough strong inner focus. Then the sense world can control us, instead of that light of awareness in our own hearts giving us our anchor. We're pulled in all directions by the senses. So, with the contact of the power of a divine incarnation, which is in our own being, because we become able to see the inner heart of this whole world and the inner heart of all the people that we deal with, all the people of this world. We see that in their heart when we begin to touch our own inner hearts. So basically, we are bundles of physical and mental energy combined with utter stillness. We move about in a physical body with active, outgoing minds. At the same time, we have a center in us that is unmoving and still. That center in us is actually the ground of our being, the ever-stable foundation of all our comings and goings in life. It is where unity, where oneness exists. Our true nature is not just physical matter, nor the subtle matter of our minds. Our minds and bodies are simply our tools, the tools of our self-awareness for living here in this world of the senses. And so our life is a process of growing in detachment from the surface of ourselves and the world to growing in attachment to the heart of our being and the heart of everyone and everything. It is growing in attachment to God, our true spiritual self. Christ and Mother lead us to that spiritual ground of our being. We don't have many details of the actual words and his actions and life of Christ, but we do see that only his words alone have echoed through our lives for over 2,000 years. Simply the words of Christ have had that power for us for over 2,000 years. And he said, "The kingdom of heaven is within you. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all else shall be added unto you." What did Mother say? One of the things Mother said, God is present everywhere, inside and outside. The world belongs to God. God alone is real. Happiness in the world is to know God in truth. The only happiness is to know God in truth. Really, these words give us the whole truth of our lives. God must come first in our life. So, does that mean we have to run away from the world? In one sense, yes. We have to run away from the selfishness in ourselves. And we have to run away from the selfishness in this world. Swamiji says in an inspired talk, Swami Vivekananda says in that wonderful book, Inspired Talks, the world is a kingdom of which the puny ego is king. So Christ said the kingdom of heaven, of spirit, is within us, and that's where we need to focus our attention, on that inner kingdom. To give up the world is to forget the ego. Being in the world, but not of it. Being in the world, but not of its surface vanities. Also in Inspired Talk, Swami Vivekananda says, the more we go away, the more God comes in. Get rid of the little I and let the great I live. Mother's life clearly shows us that we need not turn away from all those we are related to in family, work, community, etc. We do not turn away from our responsibilities. We transform relationships and responsibilities into worship and service. We learn to work in a spiritual way. Christ said, I think I need some water, excuse me, but my mouth is so dry. So, Christ said, Let not your giving of alms be visible to the eyes of men for their praise. Let your prayers be in secret. Let your Father in heaven, who sees the invisible, who sees in secret, who sees the inner intent of our heart, he will reward us openly. I can use the word mother here just as well, but this is Christ. How will we be rewarded? There will be a deep, quiet calmness in our actions. There will be a shining quality to our life and a steady integrity in our relations with others. As Christ explained to his disciples, let your light so shine that your good works glorify your Father in heaven, glorify the divinity in your own souls. In other words, the kingdom of heaven within our hearts will then naturally shine more and more brightly in our life. We won't be looking for outward response, for outward approval. Mother encouraged her disciples to always remain active. She said, "Bless me that I may work as long as I live." Work gives us practice in offering our efforts to God. Work gives us practice in not expecting anything from the world for what we do. If we expect anything from the world controls us. Mother showed self-forgetting service keeps the mind away from brooding over small personal dissatisfactions. So the more intently we think of the well-being of others, the more oblivious of our little ego we become. Work fends off idle, selfish thoughts. So many details of Mother's life are available to us. Mother's life was rooted in Ramakrishna. Her full reliance on God radiates through her daily actions and her simple, straightforward conversations with those fortunate enough to have lived with her. In the Lord's Prayer, the first two sentences of the Lord's Prayer, few sentences, also speaks of reliance on God. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. My kingdom, Father's kingdom comes in me, and I realize that my Father's will be done. I will rely on my Father's will. Mother's actions, her words, naturally came from the kingdom of heaven within her, and truly all else had been added unto her from her early age onwards. Christ said, more about that later. Christ said, lay not up for yourselves treasures on earth, but lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. Treasures in heaven are the treasures of our purified inner character. Mother said the building of character is the foundation of spiritual life. This is the way for our minds to become more inward. They have always overflowed the boundary of our physical bodies, but now we begin to sense a deeper dimension of ourselves and in others. God is all-pervading. He is not only in our hearts, but in the hearts of all. We live in an interconnected world. Christ said to his disciples, I am the vine, and you are the branches. He that abides in me, and I in him, that branch brings forth much fruit. For without me, you can do nothing. And as Sri Krishna tells Arjuna in the Gita, all this world is strung on me as a row of jewels on a thread. we gradually realize the truth that God is the connecting thread, the living bond of unity between everything and everyone in this universe. Mother had learned at an early age how to live an interconnected life. When Sri Ramakrishna had taught her the essence of spiritual life, when he stayed with her in his native village of Kamarpukur, Mother was then Saradamani Mukhopadhyay, 14 years old. And he spoke to her and he filled her with these truths. We need to totally rely on God, rely on this divine ocean within us, rely on this living kingdom of heaven within, and be detached from external appearances of life. Sri Ramakrishna had told her, adapt to all persons and circumstances according to what the time, the place, and the situation requires. Persons, time, place, and situation are simply the ingredients of our daily lives. We're here in some place at a specific time with some people in a particular situation, a particular dynamic that can define every day of our lives. What does it mean to adjust ourselves? We can't stay locked into our personal preferences, always seeking our personal conveniences, because then we won't be able to see the needs of others and the needs of the circumstances around us. The key to approaching the reality of the people and situations around us is to approach our daily life abnegating our little ego, abnegating our little self, abnegating the unripe ego self, as Ramakrishna puts it. It is through rejecting the superficial, the shallow, the small in our thought and behavior. When we are trapped in difficult situations and are faced with difficult people, our natural tendency is to blame something or someone else for our unhappiness. We see this tenacious tendency in ourselves, and we do learn little by little to curb it by not judging others, but working on correcting our shortcomings. We become more even-minded and more clear-minded. Mother's words were always so simple and straight. If you want peace of mind, my child, do not find fault with others. Rather see your own faults. Because then we will be living with the inner attitude of improving ourselves and looking to learn good habits from everyone. Mother said, we suffer the consequences of our own karma. It is unfair to blame others. Man finds fault with others after bringing down his own mind to that level. Does anything ever happen to another if you enumerate his faults? It only injures you. And Christ makes this sweeping comment, judge not, lest you be judged. For by what judgment you judge, you shall also be judged by the same, into the same degree. It becomes a habit with us to make negative judgment about people and situations around us. What does that do to us? It throws a web of negative thoughts over our minds, and we are caught in that negative web. Judge not, lest ye be judged. Who or what is judging us? Our own thoughts have put us in a mental straitjacket, and we can't move freely in the daily circumstances of our lives. It affects everything in our lives. We become habituated to seeking what we like and avoiding what we don't like. We don't like the people or the situations that give us trouble. That is the way our accustomed minds operate. Ramakrishna says likes and dislikes are the two highwaymen because they rob us of clear sight. We come life after life to pursue those things that don't give us trouble, that we enjoy, because we feel that is how our desires will be fulfilled. So we gravitate towards what we like and avoid what we don't like. This becomes our familiar, almost mechanical way we move through our day-to-day life. We expect the world to give us what we like. But of course, the world doesn't work that way, as we well know. Life doesn't work that way for us. This is the world of the pairs of opposites. Our individual karma determines what we go after and what we run away from, and that constitutes our pairs of opposites. Mother's words are very apt. We suffer the consequences of our own karma. It's unfair to blame others. There are a lot of universal human likes and dislikes. Vedanta thought understands them as built into our universal human makeup. And within that universal human makeup are all our individual human variations of what we are pursuing and what we are avoiding. Christ said, "Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God." It is our understanding that needs to be purified. Our understanding lives in the heart of us. It has to be purified by rising above these likes and dislikes. We purify our hearts by developing our ability to move through the pairs of opposites in life with growing even-mindedness. We become in charge of our reactions to externals, not being controlled by externals. And so we become able to develop a firm center in our higher self, our self that is joined to the divine ocean in our hearts. Mother especially nurtured her children. It's not good enough, huh?
Just disconnecting from time to time.
Okay. Okay. Is that good?
Yeah.
That's better. Okay. Okay. We become in charge of our reactions to externals by not being controlled by externals. So we become able to develop this firm center within ourselves, become able to become inward-minded. Doesn't mean we're running away from the world or we're not doing exactly what we've been doing in all the duties of our lives. But our minds begin to just grow and grow and deepen because they're becoming close to the source of our light, the source of the light of our own self-awareness. Mother especially nurtured her children in the steady building of character. That is the foundation of spiritual life. It's a whole package for us, physically, mentally, and spiritually. The body is the Lord's holy temple. Keep it fit and clean. Make clean, disciplined habits of eating, resting, exercising. This is purifying our outer vehicle to use in life for feeling God's presence. We train our mind to rise out of negative thoughts and become more and more positive. We read the lives and sayings of illumined souls. Our minds deepen and expand. This is purifying our inner vehicle of mind. God is in the heart of everyone and in the heart of this universe. We are not really separate from others and the world we live in. We want to feel a unity with others. We feel more and more an interdependence of existence. We receive so much from others and the outside world. We feel gratitude and want to give of ourselves as much as we can. So we have our own good, strong qualities that can serve that interdependence, that feeling of unity. We can pool our strengths and skills together. The great ones inspire us to make our lives an offering to the world we live in, and through our offering to the divine within ourselves and everyone. Let's see if you want to. The purity of our hearts develops with our growing understanding that a deeper and higher power within us really guides our lives. We're not the ones in charge of what life brings to us. We learn to develop our way of giving to the world without expecting any outer return. When we live here more and more inwardly, we begin to sense that our good works are proceeding from a far deeper source within ourselves. Are we doing the good works, or is that deeper source responsible? We are transitioning from our unripe egos, as Ramakrishna says, to our ripe egos. We gradually feel the connecting presence of God in all the persons and things around us. We grow in our reliance on a higher power guiding our lives, and we grow in true humility, seeing our relative place in the higher scheme of things. In Mother's words, we are realizing that this life and we ourselves belong to God. And the right rural way to find God in ourselves and in our life is to detach ourselves from our built-up habits of selfishness. This is the meaning of renunciation. Renunciation is the essence of positive living. The words and actions of Mother and Christ are full of this living renunciation. Mother encouraged renunciation in both her monastic and householder disciples. The outer mode of life was different, but at heart, life had only one purpose: forsaking the ego and relying on God, bringing God into our life. Christ said, "If any man will come after me, let him give up his own will and take up his cross and follow me. For whosoever has a will to save his own life in this world shall lose it hereafter. But whosoever is willing to give up his life for my sake shall find it again in life everlasting." So here comes Mother, an example from her life, among all the examples of her life. Mother forgot all thought of her own comforts, totally immersing herself and her life in serving Ramakrishna. The inconveniences in which she lived in Dakshineswar, in Shyampukur, in the Kasabur garden house, would truly be unthinkable for us. At Dakshineswar, she lived and worked most of the time in the Nahabhat's ground floor room. You've probably seen it maybe in person, or you've read about it, or you've heard about it. It was a room 7 feet by 9 feet, octagonal room. It had no bathroom. It had no windows. It had a small door, 4 foot, 2 inches wide, 2 inches high, and wide only 2 feet, 2 inches. And Mother used to hit her head as she entered on the upper door frame. And in this room, there were heaps and heaps of rice and dal, all the ingredients for her cooking. There were pots of live fish on the ceiling, hanging in nets from the ceiling. And in this room was her kitchen, her shrine, her bedroom, her storeroom, anyway, everything. And in Ramakrishna's niece Lakshmi and many of the very fine ladies from Calcutta would spend the nights with her there. And this I read just one place. I never read it anyplace else. Maybe you've heard this. But it was so crowded in that little room, sometimes she would have to sit up all night to give enough room for her guest who was spending the night with her, Mrs. Mother. So what was her daily routine? She got up at 3 o'clock in the morning and had her bath and her physical needs taken care of in the Ganges, then returned to the Nahabat for meditation, preparations for worship, and returned to the Nahabat for those things, and then for a full day of serving and cooking for Sri Ramakrishna and his growing number of devotees, and it was a growing number of devotees. In addition, she served with meticulous care Sri Ramakrishna's old mother, who lived in the upper floor of the Nahabat. She would retire at 11 o'clock or over at night. When Sri Ramakrishna left Dakshineswar in the fall of 1885 to have intensive treatment for his throat cancer, he first moved to the Syampukar house and then to the Kasipur garden house. In both these residences, Mother completed her bathroom needs before 3 o'clock a.m. and spent her days in cramped accommodations preparing the Master's, Ramakrishna's, very specialized diet. At Syampukar, think about this. She worked in a 6-foot by 6-foot terraced room leading to the roof. Her workroom at Kasipur was also a very small one near the staircase on the ground floor. When all others were asleep after 11 o'clock p.m., she would quietly retire to the tiny bedroom arranged for her in both houses to catch her few hours of rest. The thing to note is, because she totally gave up her life in service, she found, as Christ said, everlasting life there in the tiny rooms of the Nahabat, Syampukar, and Kasipur residences, always feeling a picture of bliss in her heart. As Christ said, do not lay up treasures upon earth, but lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, in the heaven of our own being. Mother's life of giving with no return thought of return was a treasure from her own inner heaven. She said contentment was the greatest wealth. She had no desire for herself, for anything in this world except the welfare of in every way of those she served. If our minds are not agitated over how we should go someplace else, have something else, or do something else other than our boring duties, then we can settle down to finding God where we live and in all the people we live with and in the work entrusted to us. Mother basically had no place of her own until 1909 in Calcutta and 1916 in Jairambati. In Kolkata, she accommodated herself to living in rented places and in the homes of devotees. In Jairambati, she lived in one of her brother Prasanna's huts on his share of the family property. And it was all the same to Mother. She said, "As to where I shall be, it remains entirely with God. Tomorrow a person is, today a person is, and tomorrow he is not." We are pawns in the Lord's game. Wherever the Lord keeps us, and in whatever way He does, we have to abide by it contentedly. If we knew the details of Christ's early life, we would no doubt have all kinds of wonderful things we could say about how He related to the people around us and to where He was living and His ability to accommodate Himself wherever He was. But we don't have those wonderful details in His life. Mother's contentment was complete. She was the embodiment of reliance on God. Her life was full of hardships. She never avoided them. She was not overcome by them. She never sought only pleasant things. She was content wherever she lived and accepted the circumstances of every place and adjusted herself accordingly. As Christ said, "Give no thought for your life, for your Father in heaven knows what you have need of before you ask of Him." Christ said to a wealthy young man, "Sell whatever thou hast and give to the poor, and thou shalt have treasures in heaven. Come, take up thy cross and follow me." What is our cross? My understanding is like this. It is twofold. We know that our spiritual ideal will require our wholehearted, persevering struggle. And it is a cross for us, and we vow to take it up and move forward. But inside this cross of spiritual aspiration is the baggage remaining of our life experience, our lingering regrets for past mistakes, our lingering attachments to all we have wanted to possess for ourselves, all regrets for our selfish past actions, all the grief that we have suffered in our life, all the innumerable events of our lives not turning out the way we wanted them to, etc., etc., etc. Namely, our personal identity as mental and physical beings. The great spiritual giants, the incarnations, tell us, no, this big bundle does not belong to us at all. We will see. Our cross is really not that heavy. The true reality of our being is not just mental and physical, it is spiritual. When we follow our spiritual ideal, our burden of life, our baggage of life, will be absorbed in Lord Jesus Christ. We will be absorbed in Sri Sarada Devi, our Holy Mother. A scribe who copied the books of the Old Testament and studied them asked Christ, "Master, what shall I do to have everlasting life?" And Christ asked the scribe, "What is written in the law? You are the reader of the God's law. Tell me what it says." And the scribe repeated, "Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul and with all thy strength and with all thy mind, and thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself." Christ replied, "You have answered right. Do this, and you shall have everlasting life." The scribe wasn't satisfied and asked, "Well, who is my neighbor?" And Christ gave him the parable of the Good Samaritan. A man going from Jerusalem to Jericho was felled on the road by robbers. They stripped him of all he had and beat him, leaving him there almost dead. Others passed him on the other side of the road, taking no heed of him. But a Samaritan came by and took pity on him, dressing his wounds, pouring oil and wine into them. Then he lifted him up and set him on his own beast of burden and walked beside him to an inn. There he took good care of him all night, and the next morning paid the innkeeper 2 shillings, asking him, "Could you please continue to take care of him? And when I come back through here, I will give you, I will pay you." He first pays him 2 shillings, And then he says, and if you need more, I will come again and repay you. So Jesus asked the scribe, which one of those who passed on the road showed himself a neighbor to that man? The scribe said, the one who showed mercy on him. Yes, Christ replied, go and do thou likewise. So our neighbor is the one who needs the help we can give him, whoever he may be or she may be. And so if we would totally love the Lord our God, we will also love our neighbor as ourselves and serve our neighbor as we would serve ourselves. Christ said to his disciples at the Last Supper, this is my commandment to you, that you love one another as I have loved you. And he washed the feet of his disciples, saying, you call me Master and Lord, and you say, well, for so I am. If then I, your Lord and Master, have washed your feet, you also wash one another's feet, for I have given you an example, and you should do as I have done to you. So Christ is saying, love, then he said, he did say, love thy neighbor and also love thy enemies. For your Father makes his sun to rise on the evil and the good, and he sends his rain on the just and the unjust. And we know Mother's famous remark, I am the mother of the virtuous as I am the mother of the wicked. There is an Indian devotional song that goes like this, O Lord, look not upon my evil qualities, for thy name is same-sightedness. This could describe the divine sight of the incarnations of God. They clearly see the divine self in all. They are at one with all and can also see the outer human personalities of each of us, and treat each of us in just the appropriate way in and through their divine sight. Now we are familiar with Christ's conversation with the Samaritan woman who we are told was living an immoral life. He came to the well from which he was drawing water, I referred to this at the beginning, and asked her to give him a drink. He said the most profound things to her, as one would say to a close friend. He told her if she knew who was asking for water, she would have asked him for the water of life. And he continued, whosoever drinks from the water from this well, he will thirst again. But whosoever drinks from the water that I give will never thirst again. This water will be in him as a well springing up into everlasting life. Then Christ proceeded to tell her the details of her own life. And then he told her, the hour cometh, and now is, when the true worshipers shall worship worship our Father in spirit and in truth. For God is spirit, and seeks such to worship him. And this bad woman, in the eyes of the world, so completely absorbed in this wonderful stranger before her, forgot her errand at the well, left her water jar behind, and ran to her village, telling all who would listen, come, see this man. He told me my whole life, his sayings. Is it not the Christ that we have been seeking? Come, come. And soon the women came back to the well with many of her people. They asked Jesus to come to their town to teach them. He stayed with them for 2 days. And many who heard him believed, yes, we've heard for ourselves. This is indeed the Christ. And we know Mother treated the bandit Amzad with the same love she gave the saintly Swami Saradananda. Amzad came from the impoverished Muslim village of Shiru, Manipur. The English had forced its inhabitants to cultivate silkworms for the local silk industry. This local industry couldn't compete with the imported silk industries, and eventually the villagers, I don't know how many years they actually had to do this, they lost their jobs, and because of growing silk, had kept them from cultivating rice and their hereditary cultivating rice and crops. They hadn't enough food for their families. Though their wives of these men, grew some fruits and vegetables that were sold in their village market. The men became thieves. They became bandits. Mother understood this and regularly supported them by purchasing their fruits and vegetables and by regularly supporting the women and giving them personal necessities that they couldn't afford. Mother hired these men, including Amzad, for many tasks. These men were hired for doing the construction work on her new house in 1916. And the villagers of Jairamati were extremely afraid and alarmed. They were afraid of what they had to have these thieves amongst them. They warned Mother that their valuable possessions weren't safe. Mother paid no heed to these warnings. The Muslim construction workers were treated with total love and respect. And it was found that not one item was ever taken from a Jairamati home. Yes, Mother meant what she said. She was the mother of the thief Amzad, as she was the mother of the great saint Swami Saradananda. How is such same-sided love possible? The Christs and Holy Mothers who appear in our world have this vision. Christ told his disciples, I am in my Father, and my Father is in me, and you are in me, and I am in you. He didn't say this to the disciples only, he said it everywhere. Mother was in an endrawn mood one afternoon with one of her young attendants, and she said, do you know what I saw one day? I saw that Master was immanent in every being. Wherever I looked, I saw him everywhere. Then it dawned on me that the creation was his. Every creature was he. Men do not suffer. It is he who suffers. That is why I am compelled to liberate all who come crying for it so piteously. I serve him in his own beings. There's a beautiful section in Christ's teachings. Come, ye blessed of my Father, and inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of this world. I was hungered, and you gave me meat. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you took me in. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came unto me. Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as you have done it unto the least of these my brethren, you have done it unto me. And we know Mother's last words, I tell you one thing, if you want peace of mind, my child, do not find fault with others. Rather see your own faults. Learn to make the world your own. No one is a stranger. My child, the world is yours. So we notice here the response of those Muslim thieves to Mother's love and respect for them. They left the village of Jairamati completely alone in their thieving. And we see the response of the Samaritan woman, this bad woman in the eyes of the world, to the truths Christ was freely sharing with her. So the actions and words of illumined souls, what to speak, great illumined souls, and what to speak of incarnations have this effect on our human hearts. I'm almost finished. They touch the light on our inner ocean of light, and light responds to light. It is divine light. It is the living water of life. It is the truth, as Christ said, and the truth will set us free. Human nature is the same in 3 BC as it is in 2025 AD. Our immature egos make us believe we are small, separate beings with the big burden of all our past and present deeds weighing us down. Christ tells us, come, take up thy cross and follow me. And in Mother's life, a young man came to her and told her he was no longer fit to visit her because of all the wrongdoings in his life. He turned, walked away rapidly. Mother ran after him, and catching him by his shirt, she looked straight into his eyes. When you have any disturbing thought, just think of me. The young man kept seeing those beautiful luminous eyes of Mother, radiant with love, and kept hearing her voice, think of me, think of me. And he became a much respected monk of the Ramakrishna order. So because we look outwardly at ourselves only through our spiritually untrained senses, we believe we are small and defective. Jesus Christ and Sri Sarada Devi come, each in their time, to take us to that divine, to that timeless realm of our own true spiritual nature. It is a timeless message, and it's always repeating the same timeless truth. And that's all for that. So now what do I do? Oh.
Yes.
Is there a song?
Yes.
Okay.
Before we have closing song, thank you. But I hope I have Sarada here. Sarada, please come forward.
What's that?
Please come.
Bar, please come.
He's one of the disciples. Thanks.
This year we have had the amazing opportunity of providing thanks to some of our most senior devotees who have been here with us for many years. Thank you, Garth, for your years of service to Mother. So, in the last 6.5 years that I have been here pretty regularly, we haven't had the opportunity of having a Mataji or a nun visiting us and giving a talk here. As far as our records go, maybe not in a decade even. So this is a new start, and I thank Pravrajika Vedaprana for making the trip all the way from the convent in San Francisco to Portland. And we also thank Ulkaji for accompanying her from there to Portland. In the recent years, I think Mataji has made some more trips to the Pacific Northwest, particularly to Seattle, for giving, I think, a couple of retreats there. So thanks for visiting here again, and hopefully many more times. Mataji has an interesting connection with our temple. Her brahmacharya, charin vows, and her monastic vows were provided by Swami Asheshananda, who actually did that at that time quite a few times. So, as this, I thank Mataji for this beautiful talk and this discussion between Christ and Holy Mother. which is something that we have not had discussed here for quite some time. About Holy Mother's room in Dakshineshwar. So November 2023, Susie and I went to India, and that was Susie's first trip to India. The concept of space of 21st century Americans and 19th century Indians is a huge difference. So we go to Dakshineshwar, we first pray our tribute to Mother Kali, and then I was trying to give a tour of the compound to her. So we ended up in front of Nahobat. The first question that Susie asked, how do you even get in? So that is literally what that room, as you heard, looks like and feels like. If you go there, you would literally see it, and many other places where Mother stayed. It looks so small that I sometimes think I cannot get in like this. I have to get in like this inside that room. So because the entry points are so small. So it's very interesting to hear that again. And this perspective that she gave is very, very important of colonial India. Silk was something very precious in Western countries, and Indian farmers were forced to cultivate silk and on their lands where they could grow grains. So without grains, these people had famine. There was only silk to be sold in Western countries and no food. So it was a very difficult thing. So with this, we probably have no more sessions this time, but as we move forward, we have a few events here on 24th evening, on 1st January, which is Kalpataru Day, and then in January we have other monks visiting us. Please look at our schedule on the webpage to find that out. With this, I thank Mataji again for making this trip here and for spending time with us for the last 3 days, giving us a chance to interact with her over Friday night and Saturday night, and for her talk today. Thank you. We will end with Paul singing. One more quick order of business. So there is some food after Paul's song. Please clean up after yourself. There is a fresh can there.
So we're just finding. Oh.
2 and 3.
Oh, no.
That's all right. Yeah, that's perfect.
Hello. Hello. I want one that would actually make a little sound. But barely. This really? No, not. This is barely. All right, sorry. You want to put it here? It sounds like it's working.
We have to turn that one down. That's number.
All right. So this song is from the words of Sarada Devi, Holy Mother, and it's a perfect song for your talk. So let's see. All right. There we go. So yeah, you want to hit that? And I have a little accompaniment because I'm used to playing with bands, so I made a band at home. I apologize for this mic not working. It's sad to me.